Mama I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
The second issue.
Yes, we should.
All right.
We should.
The bombshell.
The the kitchen scandal.
Yes. So, true to your word, at 5 a.m., okay. So your friend Frank Edu Kalbank. The Scottish guy is Pakistani.
Oh, and I said Bangladesh.
Yes.
Well, there used to be one country. Efedu.
Yes.
Let me tell you something about Efedu.
You play golf with him?
No, he was my senior. He plays golf as well?
Yeah.
But he was my senior at school, university. And he played polo.
Yes.
And then he played, I think, cricket.
Yeah.
And because these were not popular sports, if you are playing at the university, invariably you play in the national team.
Yeah.
Because it's not like football or basketball where there's mass participation. So he was in one of those teams, cricket, and then automatically was part of the national team. And there were some introductions being made. And then he got up and said, Efedu of Ghana. And everybody was like, of Ghana, the cricket, the national team. And so that became his name. Efedu of Ghana. Very...
Is that,
very...
Is now Efedu of Kalbank. I can't mention his name without Kalbank.
He's established his brand on that bank. And he did a wonderful job. I think he went into that bank right from school.
Oh.
Yeah, right after school, he went into that bank. And then rose to become the head. And he's been so identified with the bank. And you don't have many individuals being so identified with an institution who actually put their brand in. Just a few. And Frank Edu is one of them.
All right. Now, Sammy, let's get on to your issue. So, you have...
Do I have 30 seconds?
Please do.
Just before you come in.
Please do.
As Nana Komia went on and on about how they crisscross the country campaigning for Bawumia, certainly we wish them well. He knows I personally wish him Godspeed and safe journey. But it just occurred to me that perhaps it's time to begin this discussion. And it's not limited to only MPP campaign, but moving forward, we need to have a national policy on campaigning as an incumbent. Doc, you know that in the developed countries, in other jurisdictions, when you are incumbent and you are campaigning, using public time, public resources, your campaign reimburses the state. In the United States of America, for example, if you are a sitting president or a sitting vice president and you are campaigning, it's time to select the next leader, your campaign picks up the tab. It is not placed on the taxpayer. We don't seem to do that here. And here you have the sitting vice president using a lot of public resources. It's all our fuel. And you know how expensive these folks are when they move. They don't have any modesty at all, as we have come to know them. It's the taxpayer who is footing all these bills. We don't have a policy. I mean, I was looking at the current rate in the United States of America. When you use Air Force One for a campaign, your campaign will reimburse. And the hourly charge now is $142,380. The campaign, so if it's a Biden campaign or a Trump campaign or a Hillary campaign, reimburses the state because it's so expensive. I mean, they calculate the cost of fuel or the security detail, hotel and all of those things. And it's the campaign's duty to pay back. So you must raise funds separately out of government. and it's the campaign that will reimburse. They understand that for some of the items, the state can't take it away from you, the jets, the vehicles, but you will pay for the use of that. We don't have that policy in Ghana, and I just thought that I raised that matter. So that moving forward, and it should cut across. So whether it's the NDC in power or the MPP in power, I mean, as we begin to pay close attention to areas that we can cut costs, where we can protect the public purse, because campaigns are very expensive. And if we just no policy, blank check, and incumbents can just ramp up all of these bills and impose them on the poor, struggling taxpayer under a bankrupt economy, I think that is really unconscionable and it's problematic. So that's the only point I wanted to make on this vice president's campaign talks.
It's an interesting point, and I agree totally. The last time we were talking here about public funding for political parties, I was dead set against it. Dead set against it. It's all in line with the cost of democracy. That, fine, democracy is expensive, but we're a poor country. And we can't throw all our resources into political administration. So I am working at a state institution. If I follow Baumia, go around with him on public time, it'll be a problem. So I've taken leave. I've taken some leave from work. So I'm following him on my own.
And you don't use your official car?
Now, the bit about the official stuff, Baumia should be praised because he's setting a trend, which I'll be happy if that trend leads into the kind of discussion that you are saying. I support it because Baumia is conscious of it. Baumia has rented a bus. So all of us sit in the bus, a 31-seater.
From Accra?
Yeah. All of us. Yesterday we came by bus. All the travels we go by bus. The bus, white, nice bus, is sitting in front of his house as we speak. And this is the first time I've seen somebody with that kind of incumbency renting his own bus. Of course, the police, outriders, and security is present because he's also the vice president of Ghana. But the main transportation for all of us, and there are about 20 of us in the team, and the hotels that we sleep in are all borne by himself. But the main mode of transportation...
By him?
Yeah. The main mode of transportation is a bus that is rented. And I'm hoping that. And you see, a lot of the costs, there's actually a scramble for people to take up those costs. When we went to Ashanti, not so much in the central region and in the western region, but invariably, some of the hotels we slept in would throw in a dinner and so on. But in Ashanti, you had to restrain, because every evening somebody wanted to host a dinner, whether a member of parliament or something.
Yeah, when you're in power, it's like that.
Yes. So you had to restrain. But there's a long list of people falling over themselves to sponsor dinner, to all of that. But the point is that we must establish the rules. I mean, now there are no
national
rules.
Policy. Yeah.
Yes, now there are no rules.
Okay.
And
It needs to be structured.
Yes, it needs to be structured.
All right.
Yeah.
Sam?
Yeah. So let me dive into the.
And this morning, I've seen a response from Gabby Asare Darko.
Yes. I've read his response, and I'm glad that the response confirms what I put out, so that people don't think that I've just been conjecturing. Or
it doesn't confirm your conclusions.
Yes. So I'll come to those conclusions in a jiffy. Let me first of all begin by celebrating all the whistleblowers, technocrats, sometimes a few politicians, who help us with our oversight. The work we do, it cannot be possible without whistleblowers, without people who are in the bowel of the belly, who are neck deep, who have the benefit of documents, of meetings, of information, of modus operandi, who bring that to our attention as members of parliament, seeking to pursue the national interest. So I want to state on the record very emphatically that I do not deserve any praise whatsoever. The praise, really, the celebration goes to all of these whistleblowers.
So as a leader of the team, you are giving credit to the team.
I'm only a conduit, if you like. Now, as a member of parliament, when these whistleblowers come to you, you have only three options. Only three options. One, either to ignore and let your country bleed, let your country suffer. Or two, to receive the information and go and do business with it or trade with it and make personal gains or receive personal favors, which really will be unpatriotic. That's the second option. The third option is for you to take it up, blow the alarm, pursue the national interest, and protect your country. And I am glad that I always choose the third option, not those two possibilities that I mentioned earlier. So, what's the kitchen scandal about? The kitchen scandal is valued at a whopping 187.3 million Ghana cedis. The tons of documents I have received and reviewed reveal a grand scheme that, if we had not blown the alarm, will cost the Ghanaian taxpayer at least a minimum 187.3 million Ghana cedis. I say minimum because if you look at Gabby's letters, he insists that this 187.3 million is without interest. He states that in all his letters. So if you add interest, which he was demanding that they sit and calculate, would have far exceeded probably 200, 300 million Ghana cedis. So this is no chicken feed. 187.3 million Ghana cedis is more than all the allocation to the tourism ministry, for example. More than all the allocation to the Ministry of Information, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, Ministry of Chieftaincy. So many ministries and so many institutions, SHRAJ, NCC, OSP. So we are talking about a colossal sum of money which was on the verge of being paid until we blew the alarm. Now, it is also important to recognize that this payment arises out of a contract to West Blue, which was awarded on the 4th of August 2015, and interestingly, awarded exactly on this day, 8 years ago, under President Mahama, exactly to the day, 4th August 2015, known as the National Single Window and Integrated Risk Management System. I have the contract. Markin, who led the charge from the MP's caucus. Government aid in signing West Blue deal. This is CTFM, August 12, 2015. West Blue case, Afenyo Markin heads to the Supreme Court, 2nd September 2015. MP to battle West Blue over Mahama contract. This is Ghana Web, July 10, 2015. Minority threatens presidency over the West Blue contract. Modern Ghana. And this is also dated the 11th of September 2015. Government aid in signing West Blue deal. Then you have the director of communications of the NPP at the time, who gladly is here with us, the Honorable Nana Akomia. He also issued this statement, which is still available on City FM Online, May 16, 2016, under the caption, Mahama lied about fighting corruption, MPP. And Nana Akomia wrote, let me quote verbatim, President Mahama told a blatant lie when he said in London that he does not put himself in a position to be bribed, as he does not involve himself and his office in public procurement. As fate will have it, on 12 May 2015, exactly a year ago, to the day he granted a BBC interview, the president, through a letter signed by his chief of staff, Julius Debra, personally and directly instructed the Minister of Finance to formally engage West Blue Ghana Limited without any competitive tender. This was the contract for the implementation of the National Single Window for the inspection of goods at the ports. This contract is estimated to be worth more than $300 million over the next 5 years. By directing his Minister of Finance to give the contract to a particular company, the president, by his own logic, had put himself in a position to be offered and receive bribes. This is Nana Akomia. Then I have the tweet from Gabby Asare Otchere. Many tweets, and I must commend Ghanaians of social media who have been digging up. There's a gentleman called the Receipt Guy. I don't know who he is. I don't have his serial name, but he uses the Receipt Guy on X. Twitter is now X. He is doing a great job digging up all of these Gabby Otchere tweets. And very interesting tweets. He says that this 23rd May, 20, West Blue creates problem at Tema Ports. Mahama stands accused. What caused the sacking of the Commissioner of Customs Department? Has he been replaced by the president's buddy, John Vianney? It's all about West Blue. Then Gabby, another day, another tweet. Is Valentina Souminta West Blue brought in at huge cost to get rid of destination inspection firms? Then why this $35 million? This is Gabby saying that the CEO, Valentina Souminta, has been brought in by President Mahama at huge cost. Then Gabby continues, another day. Valentina Minta's West Blue was also involved in Nigeria Customs getting rid of destination inspection business. How well did that go? So here you have Gabby, Nana Akomia, Afenyo Markin, all of them, talking about how this contract was inflated, did not go through the right procurement process, that it has come at a huge cost to the Ghanaian, that possibly there's some pecuniary interest. Mahama wants to get a bribe out of this contract and all of that. Then suddenly, we are being told that President Mahama didn't pay West Blue enough. Can you believe that? The latest kitchen scandal, simply put, is that despite all of what Ghanaians were told in 2015, 2016 by the NPP about this West Blue contract, saying that it comes at huge cost, it's inflated, no procurement process followed. Going to court, actually, Afenyo Markin tried to secure an injunction against this contract. Suddenly, we are being told by Gabby Asare Otchere, his law firm, letters he has written, and managing to secure an Attorney General's opinion, an opinion which did not include GRA. GRA's input was not included. The Attorney General himself admits that in his December 16, 2022 legal opinion. And then Gabby is writing to GRA, the board chair, and the new chief director of the Ministry of Finance, also writing to GRA, putting pressure on GRA that they have to make this payment. When GRA insists that there is really no basis for this demand. So Ghanaians must get it. The duplicity, the double standard. And I agree with those who say that we all must worship President Mahama as God. You know, how those who come after him get exposed in no time. So President Mahama has inflated this contract. It has come at huge cost to the Ghanaian. There is no value for money. Suddenly, you come to power, You base on that, you do a value for money audit by Crown agent, terminate the contract. A few years, you are sitting with these people, now representing them, and saying that, forget about all what we said in 2016. Forget about the fact that we said Mahama has inflated the contract, that they didn't go to procurement process, that there's no value for money. Actually, you know what? President Mahama didn't pay enough. There is 187.3 million outstanding. So it is incredible. Now let me come to why this claim. The GRA must be supported by the Ghanaian people. The GRA, I must say, have been phenomenal. They have stood very, very firm in the face of bombardments from the Attorney General and the Ministry of Finance. And I must add Gabby Darko, who writes to them. And you see, Gabby, in his response this morning, wants Ghanaians to believe that I am just a lawyer. Are you saying because I'm the president's cousin, I can't practice my law and represent clients? He conveniently avoids his double standards, the hypocrisy, all the things he said in 2015, 2016, his tweets, which are here.
That's him as a politician. This is law. He has a law firm. His law firm has been approached by a client. They believe that on the basis of the client's brief, the client has a course of action. They are pursuing that.
So ridiculous. Look, this same client, West Blue, had a previous lawyer. Isankuma, who was his previous lawyer. And interestingly, government had decided that they would do a market value audit. In response to that, Isankuma wrote this letter. Interesting. Let me just read the last paragraph. As you are aware, the written agreement dated 4th August 2015 that West Blue entered into with the government of Ghana, acting through the Ministry of Finance and the Ghana Revenue Authority for a national single window system and an integrated risk management system, did not come into effect as the condition precedent for the agreement to become effective were not fulfilled. An agreement that did not become effective cannot be used as a basis for the market value audit. This is what
this is to resist the market value.
Yes, okay. and to say that the agreement didn't come into effect. And to be fair to Isankuma, I have the agreement here. If you read clause 3.1d, Ace is right. If you look at the
but Attorney General disagrees.
Conditions precedent. Conditions precedent. For purpose of this agreement, effective date means and shall occur on the day when the following conditions have been fulfilled. This says Crown Agents Ghana Limited has issued a letter to the Ministry of Finance certifying that a successful value for money audit has been completed on this agreement. Now, based on this value for money audit, which arrived on the 11th of August 2017, the Finance Ministry terminated this contract.
Oh.
Yes, I have the termination here, signed by Kweku Kwatin on the 26th of January 2018. And I can read essence.
Government relied on the value for money or the condition president to terminate.
To terminate the agreement.
And West Blue is not challenging the termination.
And West Blue did not challenge, accepted. I have the West Blue's acceptance here.
Okay.
Accepting the termination.
But now the Attorney General's advice is to the extent that because although the conditions precedents were not met, because both parties proceeded to operate as if there was a contract, there is a basis for a claim.
Yes, which is
I'm just saying.
Yes, that's what the Attorney General. You are right, because if you read page 4 of the Attorney General's advice, the Attorney General said, even though the condition precedent for Crown Agents Limited to conduct a successful value for money audit was not carried out, the parties overlooked this fact and performed their obligations under the contract. Very strange, because there is a termination
by the same
government.
Ostensibly also on an audit on
a value for money audit. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And you see, what is surprising is that if you read Gabby's letters, it's as though he is controlling the Attorney General. He writes, I want a legal opinion, and immediately it is offered. You know, on this matter, the Attorney General, in less than a year, has issued 3 legal opinions.
Different or same?
Same.
Okay.
Legal opinion dated 3rd December 2021. Legal opinion dated 14th April 2022. And then the latest one, 16 December 2022. All piling pressure. And what is interesting, the Attorney General himself admits,
You have to wrap up also.
admits that on Tuesday, 1st November 2022, this office held a meeting at the office of the Attorney General. Representatives of Ministry of Finance, GRA, and West Blue were present at the said meeting. West Blue and GRA were given the opportunity to submit a write-up detailing their respective positions by 11th November 2022. By 15 December 2022, only West Blue had honored the request. And yet, the Attorney General then proceeds to proffer a legal opinion. You are the principal legal advisor for government. Not a private entity, not Gabby, not the kitchen cabinet. What is all of this hurry? And look, I have been working on other cases. For example, these victims of the president's demolition for the National Cathedral. You know how many times they write to this Attorney General? I have dozens of letters, not even an acknowledgement. Gabby writes, and the Attorney General is running, issuing multiple legal opinions, piling pressure, even when he doesn't have the input. He himself admits in this legal opinion that he doesn't have the input of the GRA. Now let me quickly respond to Gabby.
Before you go on,
Yeah.
do you have the 14th of March 2019 letter signed by Kweku Kwatin?
Terminating the contract.
No, payment to West Blue for services rendered post 31st December 2018.
Yes, I have that. I have that here.
Okay.
I have that here.
In which the ministry conveys government's intention to pay West Blue for services rendered for the period commencing 1st January 2019 and ending on a date to be determined by Cabinet Implementation Committee, and also speaking about a fee equivalent to 0.28% of the final invoice cost insurance for CIF value for consignment. You have that?
Yes, I have that.
Okay.
I have that, and I have the response from West Blue.
Okay.
So after they terminated the agreement in 2018, they asked West Blue to just hang around under a separate arrangement, to hang around until they are replaced, and that is what the payment was for. It is clear from the 4th August 2015 agreement that a condition precedent had not been met, and so the contract had not become effective. So I have all of those letters. Now, Gabby wants us to believe that I have rather strengthened the case of West Blue by leaking these documents, and that they had been looking for this Attorney General's legal opinion and couldn't find it. I mean, Gabby must think that we are some zombies, that we are some, yo-yos. Look, his own letters, just pay attention to his letters. For example, this letter Gabby wrote on the 3rd of May 2023 to the Otchere of Ghana Revenue Authority. Gabby writes, pursuant to the above GRA Ministry of Finance and our client agreeing to furnish the Attorney General with their respective arguments in writing, addressing the above issues, we submit this letter dated 21st November 2022. Then he continues, however, contrary to the agreement between the parties at the meeting and contrary to GRA and Ministry of Finance assertion that they had evidence to support their position, they have since failed to provide their so-called evidence or any justification whatsoever for their apparently unwavering position. So Gabby knows that GRA, Ministry of Finance, have not written to the Attorney General. How did he know? Per this letter, Gabby knows that the Attorney General has not received GRA's letter. How did he know? Let me continue. Another interesting observation. As you may be aware, the Attorney General subsequently proffered an opinion on the matter, but GRA and MOF have since failed and or refused to advise us on the opinion delivered by the Attorney General, which was requested with the understanding that a copy was to be made available to all the relevant parties. How did Gabby know?
Maybe his head.
Where did he hear?
He's well placed.
Yes, so clearly you can see what is at play. Look, we are not kids in this country. This is what Justice Doche famously called create, loot, and share. But I believe that now, under this government, he will have said it's create, loot, and hoard. or keep.
Can I? Time is gone.
They don't share. So no. Let me conclude. Let me conclude. For those who think that, oh, you know, things were in early stages, this payment may not have been made. Let me state that plans were far advanced. 3 legal opinions secured. And this is the killer. 30th June 2023, the new chief director of the Ministry of Finance, and already I have been briefed on all kinds of rumors about why the former chief director was removed based on lack of cooperation on this affair. Now, the new chief director writes to the GRA and telling them that, look, Gabby has served notice. We have only 6 weeks to pay. The time is almost up. 30th June 2023, I have the letter here, signed by the chief director. It says that Allah, in his letter of 3rd May, asserts that GRA and Minister of Finance failure to provide response evidence to support GOG's position that no arrears are owed to Westblue, demonstrate that no such justification or evidence exists to deny the client of his legitimate claim. Allah further states that it had a mutual understanding with GRA and MOF would provide to them a copy of the Attorney General legal opinion on the interpretation of Clause 13.1. And here again you ask, why does a private entity want a legal opinion? Why? Why is Gabby looking for? Does the Attorney General work for him?
They wrote to the Attorney General. They are parties. They are representing a party.
Clearly they know what they have done. They want to secure that and strengthen their hand. I mean, you can see the scheme at play. And thank God it's been unraveled timely. And this money will not be paid.
Hey.
Then it continues. Lastly, Allah states that various assets belonging to the clients have been withheld by GRA with an estimated value of 425,000. They have heard that all previous requirements and requests and demands to recover these assets have been blatantly disregarded. We are by this letter requesting that your office furnishes the Office of Attorney General with a response to the issues outlined in the letter of 24 February 2023 by Allah, and provide Westblue with a response to his letter of 3rd May 2023. Inundation. The GRA folks were virtually thrown under the bus by their own ministry that they have to cooperate and make this payment. So it is good that they came to blow the whistle in a timely manner so that we go to town and abort this scheme. And I salute the whistleblowers, the technocrats who have brought all of this to the fore. We would not have known, even MPP members, people like Nana Komia who believed. And by the way, Nana Komia, your claim that Mahama awarded a contract for $300 million, the VFM exposes that it's also rather $102 million and not $300 million. Maybe you owe your friend an apology. You know, so this is what
is the basis of the $300 million?
In your statement.
Did you provide with a basis?
No, you just said that
it was something we just conjured.
Yes. You just conjured in your own statement. You just conjured it.
We just conjured it from thin air.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So Nana, I come to you. But Sami, are you aware of a 28 July 2020 letter from Ezankuma to the Ministry of Finance?
Okay. I'm just trying. I've been reading Gabby's Otchere response.
Okay.
I haven't quite finished, but I'm intrigued by some assertion that he makes regarding Sami Okudzeto, that he says that Sami has been too quick to assign fraud and corruption motives. He says it's a scheme when you try to draw his attention to some of the actions by the Attorney General. He says it's all part of a scheme. So Gabby says that Sami should be careful ascribing motives in this kind of issue, and it refers to the accusation against you by the then Attorney General that you were putting pressure on then Attorney General to pay some monies that I think it was the Wayome matter or so that were in court.
No.
So he asked you to be a bit restrained before you ascribe motives. But and I read from Gabby's that the fees owed by Westblue depend on the interpretation of the contract. that there's a clause 13 or so that talks about the fees to be a percentage of CIF.
A contract which didn't come into effect by the government's own letter, the Kweku Kwatin letter.
But it says the contract was extended.
It wasn't.
So the contract didn't come into effect at all. West Blue didn't do any work at all.
And based on that, they terminated, and West Blue accepted.
So West Blue didn't do any work at all.
What they had done, they were paid for.
Okay, but that's, say what they were paid for, that's the dispute. The GRA, which is the Ghana Revenue Authority, is paying them based on inspection fees. The West Blue is saying that by the contract, they should be paid a percentage on cost, insurance, and freight. And that is what they've asked Gabby to handle. Now, if you make the point that it's a moral issue, that having spoken vehemently, all of us, against this contract, then morally, somebody like Otchere Darko should not be taking it up. Then you are making your point.
Yeah, that's where I began from.
Yeah, but no, you're also ascribing fraud and insider dealing and corruption and all of that.
Those are your words.
Oh, yeah,
those are your words.
You said it's a scheme and the money is going to be paid. We don't have any evidence that the monies will be paid. Gabby himself is, in his letter, seems to be quite upset that the Ministry of Finance and GRA are not giving them audience. But be that as it may.
The same Gabby who told us that this contract was inflated.
But I'm saying be that, if you make that point, because I, speaking for the NPP at the point, I made a point that President Mahama, by the letter directing that a contract should be given to a particular company, was directly interfering in procurement processes, and so putting himself in a position of a conflict of interest.
And to be bribed.
And I still stand by it. That.
So aren't you ashamed that Gabby is doing this a few years down the line? You should be embarrassed.
No, I don't speak for. I say that if you raise that moral issue, that if a different lawyer was handling it, you're going to look at the technical issues. But if Otchere Darko is handling it, then you're also looking at the moral issue. That's the point you are making, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the other issue, and if you make that point, because then you have all the things that were written about the contract before 2016 to back you up. But if you go on to then ascribe that, it's fraudulent, it's tainted with corruption, it's a scheme to steal money and all of that, you see, then you've ascribed motives. And Gabby is saying that if you do that, you should remember that you also put pressure on an attorney general.
I never did that.
To pay, well, that's what attorney general said.
Did that.
That's what Amidu said.
I disputed that. I took him on. I never did that.
But you see, he would dispute this thing that you are saying.
I was a deputy minister for information. I received a letter and only forwarded it to him. That's all I did.
No, that's not what.
We received feedback at the information ministry. Okay. Our work is to do government PR
Sammy, I don't have a problem.
Bring feedback. That's why we have the ISD.
No,
that's all I did.
I wouldn't say you are lying.
Yes, that's all I did.
That that's not what the attorney general said.
So when
that is not.
So when this same person calls Akufo-Addo the mother serpent of corruption, we should accept it. Swallow it, hook, line, and sinker.
So you see, now you have the chance to defend yourself. I'm not saying you are lying or the attorney general is lying.
He knows he was most unfair to me.
This is what he said. So be a little careful or restrained when you are ascribing motives. But if I'm saying the moral ground that this was a contract that all of us said was inappropriate and was tainted with insider dealing and influence peddling and all of that. And so you don't expect somebody or any of us who's spoken so hard against the contract to be the one championing the contract. It's a good, and I'll take it. But it's a developing matter. Gabby too has a...
and I forwarded all these documents to the Finance Committee of Parliament.
So what's going to be the next step?
So they said they're going to invite all the parties.
I'm really... Then I rest my case. Okay. For me, this business about talking at each other on various fora, it gets boring. Let us bring the issues to the proper institutions and let all the parties come face to face. And then let's have a thorough investigation so that we will know so that there's a bit of more light will be shed on this.
Okay.
Because these are grave issues.
So I have an issue on all these things about, and I classify all this as part of so-called judgment debt.
Yeah.
Or debt collection.
Yeah, but because this one, they didn't go to court at all.
Debt collection or judgment debt. And there's a phenomenon, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the bigger picture. That's the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And it's a phenomenon of people who make claims against the state, looking for lawyers or law firms that are supposed to have influence or be close to the regime to do these things on their behalf.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking about this.
I know.
This particular issue.
I know.
If you do,
Yeah.
you try and look through.
I agree with you.
Yes.
I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah.
If you like, look at most people or companies that are making claims against government and look at the legal representation. In fact, check what their legal representation was and it's if you look at
the government coming.
perhaps the last 20 years or 30 years or so, you will see
valid point.
A certain trend.
Valid.
And for me, that's the bigger picture.
Yeah.
That we ought to look at. But like you said, it's a developing story. We'll see.
But you said that the matter is going to come before
the finance committee. Yes, I've submitted it to the leadership.
Wonderful. Because all of us are interested that public monies are not put into danger. And we should go beyond talking at each other on various platforms. Let's bring the matters to a head before a credible platform and let's deal with it. So we know the public interest will be served.
Okay. So we have to go. But it's a holiday.
Yes, it is.
It's a holiday. I want you
talk
guys
about
to
the holiday.
I want you guys to relax.
Founders Day.
I'm tired of talking about an apostrophe.
Thank you very much.
I want you politicians to relax a bit. It's a holiday.
But when you bring us here,
so I have something special for you.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I
want you kept the best for last.
I want you to have a good laugh before you
We're going to show us something.
Yeah, I'm going to show you something.
You bring us here to show us.
Just to make you laugh.
We're going to watch that.
And excite everybody.
I got some breakfast.
Thank you so much, my baby. Hello, electoral officer. How are you?
Hello, Daddy. Something came up. Please don't be angry. My lady's monthly visitor just arrived. I wasn't expecting it today at all, I swear. Hello? Daddy, are you there? Please say something now.
Electoral officer, the election has to be postponed immediately till further notice.
Daddy, I'm already dressed up. I was about going to the hotel to wait for you now.
We cannot be going to the polling unit when elections cannot take place.
But we can at least spend time together now.
Accreditation of voters without them being able to vote is voters' disenfranchisement.
Daddy, we can at least call though. Maybe case. One of those two.
Presenting voters the ballot box without voters being able to thumbprint the ballot paper and cast their vote is a waste of voters' time. All smart and well-trained electoral officers should know the exact date and time voting can take place in their polling units.
Daddy, well, this thing changes sometimes without we ladies even getting any signs.
That is electoral inconsistencies as a result of poor maintenance and observation of electoral materials. Listen to me, electoral officer. Elections will have to be postponed in your ward, as parliamentarians will now have to move to another ward to access voting opportunities.
So they calling another girl to replace.
Oh my goodness.
Happy holiday. Happy holiday.
Sounds like something Nana Kumia would do.
How do you withdraw?
Please.
I withdraw and apologize.
Up next year, the church.
Mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Now so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.